So if there's one piece of good advice that I kind of go about my everyday life and just trying to maneuver through everything that it is, whether I'm trying to become or maybe a goal I have or a certain accomplishment that I want to achieve, is not being so biased towards your feelings. And what I mean by that is, a lot of the times we think that our emotions are just reality and we kind of just stick with it, and we don't really argue with it because we just think that, oh, it's like all we know, and you kind of lean into it and not really think about the other side and stuff. A lot of times, let's just say there's a good or bad day or whatever. Who's to say that it, like, if you have a good day, who say that you won't have a bad day? And if you have like, and vice versa, if you have a bad day, you might not know if you have like a better day the next day. I guess what I'm trying to say is, no matter what you're going through in life, whether you're up, down, or in between, you're gonna really think about a variety of mixed emotions that are gonna kind of throw you off and make you kind of be a little bit more hesitant to going after the things that you want to. I would say for me is, I don't let that kind of get to me, but I try to more so understand it, because let's just say right now, if I have a negative emotion that I might have about anything, whatever, I realize now that you have to be really balanced in your mindset. And I feel like if you use your negative emotions as a tool, and if you know how to balance it, and if you try to, like, if you're in that rabbit hole of trying to understand it, I feel like you have to know when to pull out of it. I feel like that's something that I do a lot. At this point in my life, if a negative emotion kind of hits me, I don't necessarily fight it anymore. And I'm not saying that in a way that's like, think about negative stuff, but I feel like if you try to understand it and dissect of why you're thinking that way, it can really be used as a tool to help maneuver you on the journey of whether it is that you're trying to go after. A lot of the times people really ignore their negative emotions, and don't get me wrong, who wouldn't want to ever feel negative emotions? I know I would, but at the same time, it's something that you have to kind of accept and just kind of use it to your own advantage. People, especially nowadays, they don't really think, they don't have, I feel like they don't have an inner dialogue. And honestly, for most people, from the people that I see, or just in general, people that I know, maybe even, is, as long as like they're getting fucked up on the weekends, or if they're like, hooking up, or, maybe doing a few drugs every now and then, or whatever the fuck it might be, that's all they really care about. If you're truly a person that wants the most out of life, you thinking negative emotions is a direct result of you just trying to become a better person. I feel like before, obviously I've always expected a lot out of myself, and in a way I feel like that comes with just the negative set of emotions that you have, because you really have to think about whatever it is that you're going after. And I know it's easier said than done to like kind of just use negative emotions as like a tool, but I feel like the more you kind of train that muscle in your mind to really use it for the good, or really guide you to where you might not feel that as much, because every, let's just say, like, again, like, if emotion comes swooping by my mind, I'm gonna just I'm not gonna fight with it. I'm just gonna observe it, and then that feeling will go away, and then okay, and then I can move on with my life and kind of know what I can do better for next time, because it's crazy to think, because a lot of times I feel like I used to be scared about how there's no, I guess you can say, end to self-improvement. But I feel like, after all these years, I kind of think more about how freeing it feels, because at the end of the day, like, you can really do anything that you put your mind to. And I would even argue that right now is the very best, like, time period era to really get to where you want to be. With the rise of the internet, obviously anybody can make a living online now. Anybody can open a business right now, or whatever it may be. It's like the entry is not very high anymore. You're watching this video, whether it's on a computer or a phone or whatever device that you're using to watch this video on, is you don't realize how much power that you have, and you have a voice that you need to like shine on the world. what and I feel like that's something that I kind of had to realize myself because, someone like me, I was very introverted, and I guess you can say I'm very introverted right now if you know me in person in a way. It just depends though. I try to kind of get out of my bubble a little bit, but that's kind of besides the point. But I feel like I kind of let myself, I kind of made my reality like exactly what my thoughts were, and I thought like there is kind of no other way out of that. And I feel like the path to just becoming the person that you want to be is you're gonna have to put yourself into very uncomfortable situations, moving forward, because it is easier to just kind of hop on the game or just like, scroll the apps or whatever it may be that that I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. It is good to, wind down, from a long day or whatever it is. But I feel like the more that you try to, the more you consume is just the more that you're kind of just gonna be, in a way like left out because I feel like right now and anybody can really get to where they want to be, and even me right now, making this YouTube video, like it's, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty uncomfortable sometimes to talk to a camera, especially like you're not getting no responses or anything like that. You're just talking to like a camera, and it just weird. But at the end of the day, it's something that I know that I should be doing at the end of the day. And the more I keep doing it, and just even not even just like with making videos, just maybe talking to like a random person at the grocery store, or maybe doing or learning something that you never thought that you could do. If you wanted to learn something new right now, you can like click out this video and do how to, or just whatever it may be. Like the information's out there. It just how badly do you want it? Modern life, like we have the tools right in front of us. We see that with the rise of, from what I see, people around me making businesses and just stuff like that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like you don't realize how much power that you have in your mind to really get to the things that you want to be. Using negative emotions, because obviously that's going to be a given regardless. Using negative emotions as a tool and a way for you to improve yourself will for sure benefit you. And the more that you do the hard things right now, the more easier life will be. And I'm not saying it's always gonna be easy, but it'll for sure be easier as opposed to if you were to just do like easy stuff now, and then it's like your life is gonna be harder because it's like you didn't plant the seeds, you didn't water the garden to really build the foundation that it is that that you had to do to get to where you want to be. A lot of the times we kind of just let our negative emotions get the best of us, and we just think it's reality, but that's really not the case. I truly believe that if you really want it that bad, you can. Even hypothetically speaking, even if you don't, you can at least, say that you went down the path that your soul knew you wanted to. And who in this day and age could really say that? Anyways, that's all I got to say.